So in this video, we're going to do a problem from section 2.1 on completing the square. And so we're going to use this problem as example. So first I'm just going to label my A, B, and C. So this is my A, A, B, and C. And the first thing you always have to do is if there's a variable in the A position in front of this X, I cannot solve it yet. So what I have to do is I have to divide the whole thing by 9 to get rid of it. So what will happen is it will be X squared minus 15 over 9 plus 4 over 9 equals 0. Great, we're on the right track. But now I can see I can reduce this. So what I want to do is, I see that 3 goes into both of them because 5 times 3 gives me 15 and 3 times 3 gives me 9. So that means this can reduce to minus 5 over 3. And I have to carry that x. Don't forget to carry that x down. And then what I want to do is I don't want this guy here anymore because I need it on the other side to find my magic number. So we're going to move it to the other side, leaving that space for my magic number. Okay? So that means this will change to minus 4 over 9. Well, why is that? Because when you move a positive to the other side, it's going to become negative. So now it's negative 4 over 9. So the magic number will be on both sides. We have to find, it'll be the same number. So the next thing I need to do is I need to use something called b over 2 squared to find my magic number. So that means I take my b variable, so this is b again, and I do negative 5 over 3, divide by 2, and then I square it. But know that you always need to divide here first before you do the square. So when I divide, what I'm going to get is negative 5 over 6. And then when I square that, I'm going to get 25 over 36. So all I did was in my calculator, I put negative 5 over 6, and then I squared it using the square button, and this is how I got my magic number. So this is my magic number. Great. And then this is also going to be my factor, and we're going to use that later in the problem, and I'll talk a little bit more on that when we get to the next part. So now we're ready to put it back into the original. So we have x squared minus 5 over 3x plus 25 over 36. We found our magic number equals negative 4 over 9 plus 25 over 36. The next thing I need to do is I need to add this side of the equation. So what I can do in my calculator is easily just put on, with the fraction button, negative 4 over 9 plus 25 over 36. Or you can make the 9 here and the 4 go to the same denominator of the 36. So you could write it like this, because if you multiply it by 4, you get negative 16 over 36 plus 25 over 36. And then when you add them together, so if I were to do, let's see, negative 16. Yeah, if I were to do negative 16 plus 25, I get 9. And then the denominator stays the same. Well, if I reduce that, I would find that 9 over 36, I can even put that on my calculator. Let's see, does that reduce? Yeah, it reduces to 1/4. Because 9 goes into 36. So 9 times 4 is 36. So that's how I got the 1/4. Now you could just put in your calculator and then make 10 times faster and you get 1/4. And then on the left side, well, what do I do? Because I don't know, because remember in class when I showed you the factoring, if you multiply the bottom to get this and you add the top to get this, well, I don't really know that because they're fractions. It's kind of difficult to figure it out. You can't just easily factor it. Well, the thing is, we've already found our factor because we used this guy here to get our magic number, which means this guy, the negative 5 over 6, is going to be our factor. So every single time when you do the b variable divided by 2, before you square it, that's your factor. When you square it is when you get your magic number. So that's why, in this case, my factor is x minus 5 over 6 squared. So I'm just using what I already had to put in my factor place. So the next step I want to do is I have to square root both sides to reduce this. So I have to square root on one side, but also square root on the other side. But any time you take the square root on both sides, you always get a plus or minus result. So that means this is just going to become the square goes away, so it just becomes x minus 5/6. And then when I reduce this, so the 1's going to stay there. The 1 is going to stay here. But if I take the square root of 4, that's 2. So again, square root of 4, equals 2. And then we get the plus or minus result, because anytime you take the square root of both sides, you get a plus or minus when you take that square root. So you have to remember to put that there. If you don't, then you're saying you don't have two solutions. So now we've gotten that. Now we're ready to go on to the next step. And what I need to do is I want to get my x by itself. So I need to move this guy to the other side. So I'm going to move it to the other side. So that means it's going to be x equals plus or minus 1/2. And then when you move it across to the other side, across the equal sign, it becomes positive. So it's 5/6, right? So now what I have to do is I have to find my two solutions, because remember we have a plus or minus. So I'm going to do one here. I'm going to do another one here. So then I'm going to do the plus here, and I'm going to do the minus. So plus 1/2 plus 5/6, and then minus 1/2 plus 5/6. So if I put that on my calculator, I'm just going to do that right now. So if I do 1/2 plus 5/6, I get 4/3. So x equals 4/3. And then if I do the same thing to the other side, so negative 1/2 plus 5/6, I get x equals 1/3. So these, in my solution set is 4/3 and 1/3. But if you just write it like this, the box around it, that's your solution. So this is how you do these problems every single time. Now I'm also going to show one where we have an imaginary solution. So we get a negative result in the square root. So I will show you that as well in the next problem.